2, and 1. We are live. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so happy to see you here again. You guys are always coming back around. You guys are amazing. I love your energy. I love your questions. I love that you're taking on your lives. It's just amazing. And you guys inspire me so much. When I'm doing this work with you, it continues to help me grow in life. So it's a win-win. And then my goal is to just continue to be God's hands and feet and mouthpiece and heart and everything out into the world. And so when you guys are giving me feedback on how this work is helping you, you don't even know, right? It just makes my day. It just reminds me of my purpose and why I'm here and continuing to help people live a better life so they don't have to be stuck. They don't have to struggle. They don't have to not have their dreams, right? Their dreams are right there to see them and not have them in their grasp before their life is done. Nah, we're not having that, right? You guys are on this mission with me and I appreciate it. Continue to get the word out. I love it. We're continuing to grow. People are continuing to share that their lives are being changed. Their families are being changed. Their businesses are being changed by them because you're willing to get out there and share the information. You're willing to take that uncomfortable step and say, hey, I've been learning something. I think you might really love it. Let me share this with you. And it's making a difference. So thank you guys for being on this mission with me. All right, that said, what are we talking about today? Today's an interesting topic because it can be a little convoluted and confusing. So there's many of us who have really high empathy, right? And this works for you even if you don't have high empathy because you work with somebody who does. And high empathy or having empathy, some of it can be learned. You might say, no, that's not true. It's got to be how you feel. It's got to come from you. But there are ways to connect, right? I have actually taught clients to learn how to understand empathy. I've had clients who are autistic or just not the same and emotionally connected. They're not stimulated the same with emotional and thought understanding connections. But there's a way to understand the process. There's a way to understand how to look at body language and how someone else is feeling. There's a way to connect to what you felt in that same situation. And that's very much what empathy is, right? I'm going to show something to you guys so you can take a look at it. I always like to share visuals. It helps with learning. Share screen. All right, there we go. Now, these are not my infographics. They're something that I wanted to share that I have found myself that I thought were super cute. So a lot of times people think that having empathy is just feeling sorry for someone. Well, it's not just that, okay? It is allowing yourself to, and if you see these here, let me make it bigger for you. There we go. You're able to sense their emotions. You're able to mirror their feelings. What does that mean? Well, they're feeling sad. We kind of get to the vibration of sad with them, like, oh, I'm really sorry, right? We're not like, hey, sorry you're feeling bad. You know, we just match, right? Now, sometimes we're able to go, oh, man, I'm really sorry about that. But, you know, I'm really glad you said this is moving you to a better position and having you look at really great things. So you're actually being able to have them match because they shared an option with you. So they actually, in that moment, stepped into looking at some ideas on how to help where they're at and shift out of that emotional vibration. So that's just an example. You can imagine what they're thinking. You can connect and identify to their feeling. This one is where you want to be more careful, right? And this is why I want to share this with you today, because with empathy, we can get other people's emotions and bring them into ourselves, right? And so when this is happening for you, the way to know is when you feel like you're feeling all this stuff that doesn't belong to you. Now, here's the deal in a lot of cases on why that happens. Whatever they're going through may push buttons of things that you've gone through and not worked on, or something you're going through right now and it's raw, or somebody else went through that and you weren't able to help them, so you might have something on that. So what they're feeling is pushing buttons for you. So it does mean that there's something for you to take a look at. Or the final thing could be you're making up that you're supposed to be doing something about it, and because you can't, you make yourself wrong and bad but it's still pushing your buttons. Okay. So I want to explain that one in a bit of detail on the feeling overwhelmed by someone else's tragedy. Now, I'll give you a personal example. I had a lot of death growing up, right? My mom was pregnant 12 times and only 4 of us lived. So, but it wasn't a death with closure. It was babies don't come home. And that was really traumatic. And I didn't know I was going through that. And on top of that, there was a lot of negative abuse going on, and people would say things when those babies died. Oh, God's got another angel, which would confirm for me some inappropriate thoughts of, I'm not going to heaven. God doesn't want me. I must not be an angel. It just reinforced a very confused child with some more very confused thoughts. So when someone has a death in their life now, I have to really be mindful of that because it pushes buttons. I also had a lot of loss growing up, a lot of loss in traumatic ways. And so it stacks when someone has a tragedy happen. So it's important that I pay attention to what's going on for me and realize those buttons are going to be pushed, and I continue to work on them. I continue to heal them, and a new death hits me, especially if it's a suicide, or especially if it's a baby, or especially if it's not, you're not ready. And so I get to know that about myself. So when that happens for someone else, my stuff's not being pushed. And if my stuff is being pushed, I can allow myself to compartmentalize it for the time I'm there to support them and not get my stuff on them and not let myself get all emotionally drained and upset. And then I can take care of myself on a separate note. So those are just some examples on how to be mindful to not allow someone else's tragedy into you. And when I say allow, not that they're putting it on you, they're not, they're having their experience. It's important that you realize you're doing it to you and not allow that. And just being more mindful and setting boundaries. And it's okay if you don't know how to do that. I didn't know how to do that originally. I had to do a lot of work, right? I'm 46. I started this work when I was 17. And honestly, I was a pretty wise spirit down to when I was little because I started doing some of this on my own and it wasn't trained. It just came from ways I needed to cope to survive my experience. Okay, so being able to really listen to what others have to say is another piece of empathy. Understanding another person's feelings, imagine how someone is feeling, which is similar to this over here. This is more of identifying, right? Because you have felt it before. And this is imagining. So even if you haven't felt it before, you can kind of connect to what that might feel like. And then seeing things from another's point of view. That's what empathy is. Empathy isn't just, oh, well, I feel sorry for that person. Oh, poor them, right? Or it could, I'm saying it a little sarcastically, it could be like, oh, poor them. Oh, that's so sad. I can't believe that happened for them. We just go into this almost like a helpless, hopeless experience. And oftentimes it may be pushing buttons of when we felt that way when we were little. Because when we're little kids and things are happening to those around us, we want to do something. And we can't. We're so tiny. They can't even, even if they're crying on our shoulder, patting them, doesn't feel like we're doing much. But by the way, you are, right? I had to be that for my mother. And that is still comforting. A human being comforting another human being is a solution, right? Is a solution to pain, is a solution to loneliness, is a solution to feeling like they have to be doing that alone. Now, I want to shift. Empathy is wonderful. And we have to be careful because, as I mentioned, empathy has us taking on what that other person is experiencing if we're not careful, right? So we can imagine it, but keep a distance. And so the idea of being able to understand that, and I wanted to share that with you, is sympathy, right? Being able to see that when we're in sympathy with someone, I have sympathy for that loss. I have empathy for understanding. And then the third one, which I don't have on here, is compassion. That's not confusing. It's so important, let me go ahead and stop screen share, that you take a look at the next level of things. And the next level of things is looking at compassion. So, for example, if you think about, you have sympathy for this. Oh, I'm really sorry that that happened. Empathy. I can really relate. I can really connect into that. I can really see where they're coming from. And so as we're having these conversations, I can meet them on a vibration, but not make it mine. That's got to be important. And ways to help you not make it yours is to step into the second level of compassion, right? So to kind of give you an idea, if, like I was mentioning, if I'm relating to someone else's pain and I'm also feeling that similar pain, it will relate me to times in my life where I felt that pain, and I will feel that pain as though I'm experiencing it with them. Now you have two people in the equal level of pain and suffering. And it's almost as though you're re-experiencing what happened over there, but it's not in the right place. You're not giving yourself room to really experience what you need. Now, I'm not saying it's not bad to cry. It's not bad to grieve. It's not bad to meet someone if that's what you want to do. But it's important to know that you're doing it intentionally, right? If I'm sitting with someone and they're grieving a child, or they're grieving a spouse, or they're grieving a baby, or they're grieving their pet, it's okay. These emotions are safe. They're not going to hurt us. But it's important to know that you're allowing yourself to go into grief, and there's a recuperation point that we'll need in doing that, right? There's certain levels that are very heavy of emotion, and we just need a little bit of recoup time, and that's okay. But also keeping in mind, if you're not grieving that person's loss, then you may be grieving your own and just relating to them. And that's okay, but you want to make sure you're doing it with intention and not going, oh my gosh, why am I feeling this way? Why is this so heavy? Why am I in this? And this is about them. That's where then we get to step back and understand that it's okay to use empathy and have that ability to understand and share those feelings, and being able to step into their shoes and really relate and connect on a deep level. But it's important to realize that this is about their feelings and not about mine. And I don't have to match that if I don't need to. Instead, on the other hand, with compassion, it's going beyond empathy. It's being able to have that sympathy. It's being able to have that concern and connect, but not having to go into grieving their loss or grieving the fact that they have a loss. Instead, it allows us to be able to combine that empathy and combine that sympathy and combine it with like a different level of being able to, what can we do? What are some action steps that are needed? And for them, it may just be allowing them to talk things through. It may be allowing them to clear some things that they don't feel clear of, where they might be beating themselves up, or, you know, I should have done this, I should have done that, I didn't do enough of this, I didn't do enough of that. That's not grieving. And that's important for us to notice the difference. Grieving is, this loved one isn't going to be in my life anymore, and I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss the beautiful things that they bring into my life. I'm going to miss the phone calls. I'm going to miss the times we got together. I'm going to miss their smile and their voice. But that other stuff, that's verbal self-abuse. That's creating additional suffering. For example, why did they leave me? Why did God take them away? Why didn't I fill in the blank? Why didn't they fill in the blank? I should have fill in the blank. They should have fill in the blank. All of that is extra suffering. And so it's very, very important to be careful, because sometimes if someone is in that and we match that, that is also another area we want to take a look at, is where are we creating suffering tied to grief? And it could be something as simple as, in business, right? I'm not getting this follow-up done. That's a fact. That will cause me some grief. I'm creating loss in relationships. I'm creating loss in my relationship with myself and stepping into my potential. But if I begin to beat up myself and beat up my results and beat up these things, it works in relationships, it works with your business, it works in your personal life, it works if you're getting all the things done in your home that you want to or not. Take a look at where you want to be able to see empathy, compassion, giving compassion to someone else and even into yourself versus I'm just in this emotion and I'm just keeping myself there, adding it to suffering. So then suffering is removed and you're just able to be in that emotion and that experience clear, right? Okay, so I know that was a lot of information. We touched on various topics and you can see how they kind of combine, but you can also see how you can separate them, right? And so the idea is really to be able to see that when you connect with empathy, you're focusing on understanding and connecting with the emotions. But if they're going through a really difficult time, it's important that we allow ourselves to keep an appropriate level, not match their vibes fully, right? To be able to have that connection more in compassion for yourself, to be able to be more in this space of confirmation, more in this space of here for you. I know what it's like to feel that kind of loss. Know that you're not alone. Solution. Know that I'm here to listen. Solution. Know that I love you. Solution. Sharing conversation about that loved one if you both knew them. Allowing them to share conversation about that loved one if you both knew them or not, right? Allowing them to get into what is it they loved about that person. Allowing them to get into, and again, this depends on if you're someone's coach, friend. You also want to balance what support you're giving, right? But I'm thinking about it in just a regular supportive kind of way. You can allow them also to talk about, I was really blaming myself for this and that. Yeah. Or you might be able to say, I could see that you're really blaming yourself for this or that. That's not the same as grief. That's blaming and shaming. So it helps someone to become aware and go, oh, I don't want to put that on that relationship. I don't want to put that blame and shame in between me, just sending them love wherever it is they are, right? Whether you believe that they've gone to heaven, whether you believe that they're dead until they're awakened, wherever it is, their energy doesn't die. Their energy is somewhere. And so you're sending them that love, or you're blocking it with judgment and shame and not good enough and anger and whatever else might be in the way, right? So it helps to have that compassion for ourselves as well as for others, having empathy for ourselves, but not continually repeating the pain and suffering. So share with me what you're thinking. Share with me if this raises questions for you, because when I was first finding this out, it was a little confusing. I was like, what? How? I explain that a little bit more. And so I had to do some more research. I had to really look into this and really understand the difference. So let me know what questions you have. And if you're really loving these ideas and you're like, I want to implement this. I want to practice this. I want to practice this for my clients. I want to practice this in my relationship. I want to practice this with myself. I realize that I'm somebody who has empathy, which I love, but my empathy, I don't know how to draw boundaries with it. And so I'm becoming exhausted. I'm becoming exacerbated by other people's complaints and pain and suffering. And, and I'm enabling them, or whatever it sounds like. It may just be, there's steps I'm not taking. And I realize I'm just kind of in this process of beating myself up and not having enough compassion for myself. Really stepping into that so you can shift and see what's going on there. There's definitely some self-sabotage blocking you. And that self-sabotage is subconscious beliefs that are stopping you from moving forward. That's all it is. It's nothing terrible. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just some beliefs that you have used as coping techniques. And as you're trying to move forward, those coping techniques are stopping you. They're just limiting beliefs. That's all it is. A coping technique, a big one, is thought process. We think certain things to block us from taking certain steps that will hurt us. That's it. That's all it is. It makes sense when you think about it like that. But then you can also realize, gosh, so what beliefs are blocking me? But we can't quite see them because it's here. We're practicing, it's actually back here. So we're practicing it and we can't see it. So having someone else over here going, hey, so I see it here, I see it here, I see it here, I see it here. These are going to be the ways that we clean that up. These are going to be the ways that we replace it. And you're going to come up with some of those ways. So it's yours and you're implementing it. And as you're implementing it into your life, you're working with me. So we help to hold you accountable and create positive habits that reinforce that for you. You're going to be able to share it with those around you, having accountability partners, just by being who you are and letting them know, yeah, this is who I am, or setting boundaries with other people. Like, nah, this is, we got to set some boundaries there because I didn't realize we're doing this, but we've got to make this change now because it's healthy for both of us. It'll get us in a better place. And you're creating accountability partners by doing that. It's just happening. You're just living your life into it. And we don't know how to do that on our own at first. You don't know how to walk. You don't know how to eat. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to do any of that stuff on your own first. You don't get mad about it. You realize, okay, I need help, uppy, right? We allow help. And so it's important that you allow the same thing, right? Let's get uppy. You don't need to be stuck down. Allow yourself to have those tools, have that support, be able to connect with empathy, but feeling good about it, connecting into compassion, allowing yourself to see what steps need to be there, what boundaries need to be there. They're all safe. They're all healthy. And you're doing amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking on your life. And guys, thank you so much for sharing this information out to others, because you think it's common because you're here, but they may have never heard of it before. And for them, they're in a space of suffering and hurting, and they don't know how to get out. And I was there. I was there for a really long time, and I didn't know how to get out. And I was training and schooling and everything to try to get out. It took 30 some years. So let's get everybody this information. And if you find it from someone else and it's a better fit, fine. But get the information. Change your lives. Change it now, because you don't know when tomorrow is your last tomorrow. Today is your last today. You don't know when. So don't wait. All right, you guys, bring it in. Big squishy hugs for health. You take care of you and know that you're loved. All right, you guys, I'm here every Wednesday, different topics. Next week, we're going to be talking about how negative thinking can really bog you down and just have you sell yourself out and have you think just hard times, hard times, and you can lift that off. And share this with people who don't know how to do this, right? Every Wednesday is free, so there's no excuse, there's no cost. They can stream it whenever they want, so there's no time. But if you want to be there live or you want to ask questions beforehand, I do it every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So send me questions. You can DM me. You can send me a text message over here, right? However it is, and I'll address your question straight out online. You don't have to, you could say, I want this anonymous, or you could say you want me to give you a shout out with it, whatever that looks like. There is no stupid question except for the one that you refuse to ask. And then it's not stupid. It's just you being afraid. That's okay. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. You have a wonderful week. And I'm so glad that you allowed yourself to reset your mindset Wednesday, midweek with me. You take care of you. Big squishy hugs. Ciao for now, guys. Bye.